Okay, so I've got the recording on. So I've got 5 letters here, and let me do a screen share. We'll take a look at these and see how it goes. Right, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to have a quick look at the grammar and vocabulary. I haven't got time to look at the case notes and go onto it in detail or depth. It's just I'm at home today. I'm doing some home working, working on my different sites and things, and I thought, right, I've got time to have a look and make a video. So that's all I'm going to do. So I'm going to, right, so can you see this now? Can you see the text? Just let me know if you can see the text, yeah? Can you see it? Can you see the letter on your screen? Can you see the document in Word? Somebody type yes or no. Let me know. Save the changes. Yes, right, okay. I'm going to refer Mrs. Potter to request. Well, how can you refer Mrs. Potter to request? So you can refer Mrs. Potter for a surgical consultation, or you can request a surgical consultation for. I think that is better, makes a bit more sense. So I'm writing to request surgical consultation for Mrs. Potter to manage her osteoarthritis. Okay, that's good. Mrs. Potter has medical history. She has a history of OA, osteoarthritis, in hands and knees. What? Hands and knees, what? In her hands and knees, in both hands and knees. And with intermittent insomnia. Respectively, patient particular, whatever needed, mother has breast cancer. This is a short sentence, short and simple, and I'm not sure what it actually does there and what it's got to do with osteoarthritis. So we don't really need this. For one thing, it's too short as a sentence. It's simple, and there's no connection with the previous sentence, and it's nothing to do with osteoarthritis. So get rid of that. That should be capitalized. Mrs. Potter was presented. Now. Was presented. Why is this passive? Did she not come on her own? Because this is what it means. When it says was presented, it means that someone presented her. Somebody brought her, but I thought she came on her own. So we won't use passive there. I mentioned she's been experiencing increased pain in her left knee for the last 1 year. Well, if it's the last year, we don't need one for the last year. Recently, it has increased. Well, why is it passive? It's been increased by what? So don't use passive. It has increased. The patient complained of or about pain during a rest period or the rest after a long walk. Okay, joint examination, a decreased range. Don't forget your articles. Was noted in left knee along with tender to pressure. What do you mean? Tenderness. Along with tenderness to pressure along the joint. I'm not quite sure. That's not phrased very well. The patient was informed to before. So she was informed that she's got to perform an X-ray and blood test. Well, she's not doing that, is she? Someone else is doing that. The patient was informed. What to? That's not good. That's not good. Why don't you do it like active? I ordered an X-ray and blood test, because that sentence is meaningless. Therefore, I ordered an X-ray and blood tests. She was commenced and advised. Who advised her? Either I advised her or she was advised to revisit tomorrow. Okay. On today, or simply today, Mrs. Potter's, make that capital, X-ray revealed worsening osteoarthritis, osteoarthritis, has increased. By itself, you mean it was increased. Presumably you increased it. And physio-focused sessions were arranged for the patient. It would be appreciated if you could assess Mrs. Potter and analyse the possibility of a left knee joint, of left knee joint replacement surgery, because that's usually uncountable. You can count an operation, but surgery is usually in general terms. Okay, so there's a bit of grammar here. We need to have a look at. I'll just leave this on the screen, so when you watch this later, you can see it all, and I'll put this in the group a bit later. Okay. Letter 2. Mr. Elvin, 48-year-old man. Well, Mr., so we can guess that. 48. This is why you should put his DOB here. And you don't have to put this. Whose features are suggestive of acute myocardial infarction triggered by asthma. Medical history? Well, that's not medical, is it? It's social. That, yeah. He has a history of mild asthma, which is currently taking serotonin for some salbutamol inhalers. Okay, watch this punctuation. It's possibly just a typo, but still. Initially, Mr. Alvin presented with complaint. Right now, either with a complaint or a specific complaint or complaining of. Okay, so we need an article or make it a continuous verb. Presented with the complaint of mild chest pain. ECG levels were normal, therefore he was advised what? He was advised to exercise, what he was advised to take an exercise. Stress test, no idea what that means. That's not clear to me at all. Who's advising who to do what? That's not very clear. On the next visit, well, subsequent next, it's basically the same. So repetition, a tautology, don't need it. Mr. Elvin's exercise tolerance test revealed systemic changes prescribed, blah, 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 additional sense of powers. That's a short sentence. His cholesterol levels were also raised. Why isn't that added as part of the previous one using a conjunction such as and his levels were also raised? Okay. After 2 weeks, Mr. Elvin's asthma deteriorated as he was non-adherent due to his alcohol dependence. Consequently, he was counselled. Okay, that's not bad. Again, I don't know if this is a typo, but you don't leave spaces with punctuation. Today's review, Mr. Edwin came out with sudden crushing chest pain or unwitting symptoms of his asthma. I was not alleviated. Crackles. Short, simple sentence again. Consequently, he was given emergency treatment, blah, 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 blah. Okay, that's not too bad. Again, I'm not sure if this is because of a typo, but there's some punctuation errors here. But apart from that, that's not so bad. Just watch your articles and avoid short, simple sentences. Okay. Mr. Jang. It's like a major. Well, I don't know if we need an article there. Depression, it's not usually countable unless it's a depressive incident, but it's not usually countable. Deliberate self-poisoning, that's not spelt correctly, is it? Poisoning. Being referred to as is being discharged today. Okay. Mr. J was admitted with complaints of second episode of a second. With complaint of admitted with complaint of a second episode. Well, he deliberately poisoned himself because he wants to die, presumably. I mean, why else would you poison yourself? So again, I don't have a case notes here, so I'm not sure. But would he come in complaining, oh, I've just poisoned myself, or was admitted due to a second incident of self-poisoning? So I'm not quite sure what is going on here, and I don't have a case notes, so I'm just commenting on grammar and vocab so far. Metazine what? His, those, the, those. We need some pronoun or article in front of that. And he had received, he received, and he had received, or he received one-to-one CBT counselling. Or if we know when, we can use the simple past. That should be spelled with an S, counselling. Currently he's made good progress on self-harm risk and the self-harm risk or his self-harm risk. Again, we need an article or a pronoun is low. He requires, now, we don't need an article there, simply close monitoring, no article required because we can't really count to that. Socially, Mr. Jiang is a labourer and lives with what? NESB? What does that mean? He was migrated, you mean he migrated, not passive. 5 years ago, now his bonus is, well, okay, very interesting, but what does this have to do with anything? Ah, right, he got divorced, since then he's depressed, has stopped working, isn't perfect, and attempted an episode of suicide. His mother's going to take care of his son, her, surely. Due to Chinese medicine beliefs, well, I don't know about, I have seen these case notes, and I don't think that's quite what it means. She has been educated for the same what? And what's she been educated in? Oh, this last sentence is not so clear as what is being, as who's done what to whom, why, how, not very clear. Okay, based on the above, it'd be greatly appreciated if you treat Mr. Jiang, overcome his depression. Could you please continue his counselling? Needs an S. Monitor for adverse effects or the, because it's particular effects, the adverse effects. Please about your medications as he consumes them in excess to harm himself. Can he make willing to search for a job? Lots of grammar here. So encourage him to increase physical exercises in general, so we don't need an article. Okay. So there's a bit of grammar here, fair bit of grammar and spelling that we need to have a look at. Okay. Pronouns, simple past instead of past perfect, pronoun, misuse of passive, present perfect, continuous, pronoun use, article use, etc. Okay. Who's drawing on the screen? Can you stop it? Dr. Jones, okay. I've just got a couple more, and that'll do for today because I've got some other stuff to be getting on with. Okay, writing to request urgent assessment. Well, I probably put a definite article here, the urgent assessment of. If you've got something of something else, it's usually a definite article. The urgent assessment of Mrs. Walter, whose clinical features are consistent with depression or bipolar disorder. That's good. Regarding her past medical history, Miss Walter has had asthma since her childhood. Yeah, that's good. Is taking pulmonary inhaler in addition, watch punctuation. She had fungal infections, both feet, is that plural? Is this likely to make you depressed, having fungal feet? I don't know if we really need to mention that. It's possible having fungal feet may depress you, but I don't think we really need it. Okay, it is worth mentioning that she has strong, now this is, yes, strong family history of depression. Mrs. Walter had visited my clinic. Why is it past perfect? Visited my clinic numerous times last year for asthma and fungal infection at that time, and in good mood, or in a good mood. She was busy in volunteer work at the children's school. Well, over her blood. So, right, how does this sentence, how does it join in? Connect. So you've got a medical store for asthma, fungal infections. Oh, and she was in good mood. at the kid's school, and by the way, her blood tests were normal. Shouldn't this be part of this? So asthma and fungal infections, her blood tests, including pap smear, were normal, and at that, you know what I mean? So it's like, try and put related information together. Not medical, social, medical. Try and put medical, social. Yeah, okay. On today's review, Mrs. Watt complained of low mood, of a low mood or feeling low, and wasn't able to cope. Well, right. Now, I would make this continuous verb, because it's not something, you know, and being unable. So it's a process to cope with a daily. She was at home. She felt lethargic, had insomnia, and suicidal thoughts. So more appetite, reduced and dropping away to I don't know what that word is. And had a body mass index of 3. Okay, that's better paragraph. That's good. This is what's from depression. Do not. So, okay, that's not so bad. Not so bad at all. Yeah. So I might say, watch your article use. Okay, indefinite article, definite article. Watch that verb form. Don't really need this a feet, you know. You could include it, but it's not important really. And try and group related information. Okay, such as like that. Okay, apart from that, that's not bad. Right, the last one for the day. I'm writing regarding urgent psychological assessments. We need something, an article or a pronoun. Urgent psychological assessment manual of Mrs. Water presented on differential with a pronoun. That's a long sentence, but okay. Mrs. Waters' medical social history. She's a married woman with 2 children. Okay, suffering from asthma. Okay. Strong family. Well, medical and social. That's social and medical, isn't it? That's the social part. So shouldn't it be social and medical? Something from asthma, from inheritance, strong family history of depression. Okay, that's not bad so far. What's your punctuation? It's working with a checkup for a complaint of tiredness. With a complaint of came for a regular checkup and was complaining. So she didn't come with a complaint. She came for a checkup, and while she was there, she explained that she was tired. Watch this punctuation. However, her asthma was well controlled. Her examination was remarkable, except for high BMI. Therefore, relevant blood tests were ordered. Tests in general. She was advised to reduce weight or to lose. Now, it's either reduce her weight or to lose in terms of collocation. Reduce weight by lifestyle changes or making lifestyle changes. And performing regular exercise along with review appointment after 3 months. Okay. This is what is presented on the 28th, and the condition had improved. Okay. She managed to loss. She had mountain. Right, we should be past perfect because we've got presented the simple past, so this should be past perfect. She had managed, but managed implies she had managed to lose almost 12 kilograms of weight, or of her weight, but let's go. Reports also within her reports, what you mean, her tests, but also within normal limits if you mean tests. So put that there. Okay. Today, Mrs. Walter came complaining from tired all day, and the sleep was feeling tired all day and with disturbed sleep in general. She also experienced suicidal thoughts. And I would probably make this past perfect. She also had experienced, because she came. That's in the past. And she also experienced, that means that she kind of experienced them when she came. So that's probably not true. So she experienced them before. So make that past perfect. If you'd also experienced it on the part-time duties, appetite was decreased. Was decreased by whom? Had decreased. I feel stressed due to responsibilities. I think stress, not stressful. Stressful is an adjective. On examination, her weight was markedly reduced, given the recent issues, or her recent issues is better, use a pronoun here. It would be great for you to take on Miss Waters' case, moreover, her husband should be counseling how to do some children and child responsibility. Okay. Any queries, please contact me. Yours sincerely. Okay. That's not so bad. Just watch your article, your preposition, verb form and collocation, verb form, past perfect. Don't need that article. Make it a verb, so you've got felt, stressed, so use that verb form instead of stressful due to responsibilities, her recent issues. Okay, so that's not bad. Right, that's five letters for the day. That's all I could find in the group. So I hope that works. Right, I'm going to stop the share now. Okay. Does anybody have any questions about any of those changes? If not, I'm going to put this video on YouTube and you can watch it later. And I'm going to put the letter correction files in the group on Telegram. So if you've got no questions now, I'll be online for a while in the group if anybody has anything. Okay, right. That will do for the time being. I'll see you later.